Good morning. So the flow at Priska has reached 4,000 cubic, and you see it's climbed here again. Let's just look at our mark. It's still not reached our 7-meter mark here, but it has reached the corresponding 7-meter mark at Priska. You can see there is still about a meter left to the 7-meter mark. So the current flow at Priska will give us that 7 meters. We'll see. It's going to be difficult because there's a 5-day delay and you have to be sure exactly when that delay is. It's a bit early, so the sun is not great for the camera, but let's look at what the flow rates on the rivers are. Starting with the Vaal River, we can see that the flows on the Vaal River above the dam has slowed down. The outflow, the dam itself is at 112%. The outflow is at 1,724. As you can see, it's coming down from its peak now. So the danger on that side is over. Looking at Bloemhof, where our biggest problem lies at the moment, we see the inflow into Bloemhof around 2,500 plus. That's dropping off rapidly now. The outflow from Bloemhof is still 4,000 cubic, but this, as you can see, it has peaked, and it looks like today they will close some of the floodgates and reduce the outflow down to 3,200 again. That short peak will at least mean that it will slightly flatten out on its way down to us, which means that we can expect a slightly lower total flow, maximum flow. We hope that holds true. So this is 4,000 outflow. Let's just look first at Gariep Dam. The Gariep Dam is at 111%, starting to drop. The inflow above has dropped off, and the outflow is 1,400 cubic. If we look at the dam, that's showing the peak dropping off. And looking at Van der Kloof, outflow still 1,600, but it's starting to drop. It was at 1,650. It's at 110%, and it's at its peak, though you can see the inflow is slightly higher than the estimate they used, but that won't make a big difference. That's the peak of it. So on the lower Orange, after the convergence of the Vaal and Orange rivers, we see now at Katlani 4,200, and you can still take the 4,000 plus the 1,600 for 5,600, but as it flows down the river, we expect that peak to drop down to about 5,200, which is very close to the 2011 peak, depending on which peak you work out, which measurements you work out. I'm not always sure which one to work on. But I have on the dam, as I've said, I have the marks of where it was. Then someone asked about the Cyclone Freddy. One of the interesting things about Cyclone Freddy is it seems that it has stopped. If you look at the next 24 hours, and then the 3-day forecast and the 5-day forecast, it doesn't look like it's moving much. So looking at the maximum forecast there, the only river that's really affected seems to be the Limpopo River and somewhat the Olifants Rivier. If you look at that same area, it's going to affect the Limpopo River here and the Olifants, the Klein Letaba actually, and it might reach the Olifants, Klein Letaba and Groot Letaba rivers. So that, but it seems like that influence is diminished greatly. It will still be rain, there will still be some heavy rain, but it's down to 300 millimeters now, not the 600 we initially saw. So the water coming down is, the current estimate, okay, is still 5,600, 700 total flow. It does show lower readings as it gets lower down. That could be either because some water moves into wider areas, which that kind of absorbs some of the volume and reduces the peak. But some of it could also be because of different calibration on the readings. I will see. For the first time in a couple of weeks, I have a little bit of time, so I'll see if I can get better footage, and I'll see you on the next one. We'll see you on the next one. Cheers.